Hello everybody and welcome to another artifact video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about heroes. They're the main part of how artifact functions, so we're going to be talking about what you should be looking in for your heroes when you're coming in to play artifact when it launches on the 28th of November. You can't do anything in artifact without heroes. In order to play cards of that color, you have to have a hero of that color in that lane, so making sure that your heroes don't die is an incredibly important part about heroes. So, most important parts about heroes right off the bat, the easiest thing to talk about is the baseline stats. You can see the Axe has an attack of 7, armor of 2, and he's got a health of 11. The two most important stats in terms of base stats is you want to make sure you've got at least 4 damage is nice. 4 damage means you immediately kill creeps. Creeps do 2 damage and have 4 health. So if you've got 4 attack, you'll immediately kill the creep when you spawn into the match. And typically, you want a health, I would say 6 would be low. If you can get 7 health, you'll be able to survive through most attacks on the first round. Most people's health damage isn't really above 7, or it's even 7 above. Like Axe is a very strong attack. The only people that really do more than that have like some sort of special ability that lets them do too much more than that. So if you can get above 6 health and you do above, or if you do 4 damage and above, those are both good base stats that you're looking in your heroes. So what else do heroes have to offer your squad? Well, heroes typically also have passive. So here an example is Bristleback. He has a passive ability, which is every time that he kills a hero that's blocking him, he gets +2 armor permanently. An example of somebody that doesn't have a passive actually is Axe. If you look at Axe, he has no passive whatsoever on his character. It's because his base stats and his signature card are so strong. We'll be talking about signature cards in just a moment. And those passives can also be a more active ability. Let's find Sniper and make an example out of him. Sniper, come on Sniper, stay. There we go. Sniper has an ability, which is basically his passive, is called a headshot. And now this is the flip side of a passive, an active, but it's basically a bonus ability on your character where every 3 turns he can deal 5 damage to a unit in his lane. So either way, passively affecting the lane, somebody like Drow Ranger, if we look at, her passive is that everybody in all your lanes gets +1 attack. That's a crazy good passive. That's just on you all the time that Drow Ranger is on the field in the game. So that's something you need to be looking at when you come and you start getting your heroes, is what type of active do they have or passive, and if they don't have one, why is that, and are their base stats good enough to make up for not having one? Finally, the last part that makes up a hero is your signature card. So you've got your base stats, your active or your passive, and then right behind here, you're going to see that every single hero card has what they call signature cards, which are going to be a card that you have to play with in your deck. When you have that hero, you will have 3 copies of that card. So those work just like any other card in Artifact. This is a 7-cost card, and it deals 10 piercing damage. Piercing damage means it goes through all armor. It goes straight to your HP, to any unit in any lane. So if you have Sniper in the left lane, you could cast Assassinate on somebody all the way over in the right lane. An extremely strong but costly signature card. Typically, characters that have very strong signature cards will have something else about them that's not so strong. So Sniper only has 6 HP. That's kind of his balancing point. If we look at Axe, Axe doesn't have a passive at all, right? But his signature card, Berserker's Call, choose an allied hero and it battles its enemy's neighbors, that being the card directly in front of you and the 2 cards to its side. So it's a 3-pronged attack and he battles all of them at the same time. It's an incredibly strong card. Somebody that maybe has a more boring card, let's go ahead and find ourselves Tidehunter. Tidehunter has all the health in the entire world. His active ability is a giant stun. That's one of the best actives, if not the best active in the entire game. But his signature card is just get +1 armor, and it's a 1-cost card. It's just so very fine. And so there's basically that triple way of being balanced around your character. You might have really good base stats and a good ability, but then your signature card kind of sucks. Or you might have a great signature card and a great stats, but you don't have any passive or active. So those are the 3 things you're looking for in your hero. So make sure you look at all 3 when deciding whether a hero is good enough to take or not take. Finally, when discussing heroes, guys, we kind of talked about it a little bit with their base stats. But if you look here in the top right hand corner, you have 5 slots for your heroes. You have 5 heroes in your deck, and you get to choose when you would like those heroes to come out in your deck. So 3 of your heroes will come out during round 1. That is when the game starts. People call it the flop. You will have your 3 heroes come out plus 2 creeps. You do not choose what lane those go to. So this is not like left lane, middle lane, right lane up here. This is straight up random. So if you put Bristle back here, he might end up in the right lane. You put Sven here, he might end up in the left lane. That's not relevant. What is relevant to these slots is what round your heroes come out in. So when you're building your deck, when you have your heroes, let's say you've got a very squishy hero that you want to run. Let's say you want to run Skywrath Mage. Well, he only has 6 HP. And so him randomly getting tossed out onto the board in round 1 might be an absolute disaster for you, because you don't want him to immediately get lined up against somebody like Ursa, who's just going to one-shot him, and Ursa's not going to die, and then your opponent already has a massive lane advantage in that lane, not to mention the 5 gold for killing your hero. So oftentimes what you're going to be looking to do then is you want to grab your heroes that are more likely to die during the first round, put them out into round 2. Let's say you've also had a Zeus, he's got 7 HP, he's pretty strong, but you're also still worried, so you throw him into round 3. This means that you get to choose where your round 2 and round 3 heroes come out, at least what lane. You don't get to choose exactly what slot they go into, but you can determine where you need them the most. You can determine what lane is safest for them, what lane is least likely for them to get into a matchup where they will immediately die going into that next round. So typically, you want to put out your tankier characters first. So say you wanted to put out a blue hero in round 1 and you have Jaimai, well, that works perfect because he's got 8 health. He's a lot less likely to get one-shot. This Ursa, who was going to one-shot our Skywrath Mage or our Zeus, is not going to be able to one-shot this guy. He'll be able to live through the second round, which is incredibly important. And you can run your hybrid deck, and you've got your Tide Hunter and your Ursa. So you get your tankier characters out first, and you squish your characters second. Now, while that's not maybe something you always want to do, it is highly recommended, especially when you start playing the game, because it can be very frustrating when you're throwing out your heroes right into the lane and you don't even get to do anything with them because you just got one shot right there in the first round because of the RNG of where your character was placed. So don't leave it up to RNG. Put out those characters yourself and don't even worry about it. Thanks everybody for watching the video. In our next artifact video, we're going to be talking about what the different colors thrive in and what their specialties are, so that if you have a certain play style that you're into, certain things that you look for, you'll be able to start building up those cards and looking to play that color of deck instead of trying to mix and match and figure out what your favorite deck is going to be later on. And we should have that video out in just a few days. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, please go ahead and hit the like button. And if you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell, guys, in order to get notifications for our uploads. If you want to go the extra mile to help support the Twitchiest community, you can always go to our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Incon and use your Twitch Prime sub there. It's a great way to help support the community. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a twitchin' day, y'all.